KHJ TV Public Affairs presents Frankly Female.
Good morning. Frank and Karen Kuva are champion bodybuilders who have competed and won in some major titles. I would like to ask Frank my first question. What does it take to become a champion, and can you tell us something about those titles?
Well, it takes a lot of determination, first of all, because it's a great deal of work. I don't think any sport takes quite as much concentration as bodybuilding, because you have to spend a lot of time with proper diet and a lot of exercise done correctly. And even the tanning and posing are all part of the routine. We spend hours on practicing our posing routines, especially for something like couples. Because it's not just one person practicing, it's a combination of two looking good on stage at the same time.
So it goes into the realm of art. What about some of the championships that you won?
We won the King and Queen of the Foothills was one contest. Mojave Desert Classic, we won that. And California, the Mid-California contest, we won that one also. We were runners-up in the California State Championships, competing against people half our age.
I think you guys are wonderful-looking specimens of your craft and your training.
Oh, thank you.
Karen, how, and why did you become involved in bodybuilding?
Well, it was when I realized that I was getting rather heavy and out of shape. You know, my hips and thighs were getting quite large, and I figured that was the only way to get it down. So I started off with aerobics. And then when I saw what good shape Frank was in, he had already joined the gym and started working out, so I thought, well, I'll give that a try, too.
You have a training studio, and part of what you do in dealing with your clients is you have a body composition profile.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, what it does is it's very simple. We just have the person lie down, we hook an electrode to their hand and their foot, and put a current through them. They don't feel it all. And what it does is it tells them what the percentage of body fat is, how many pounds of fat they have, how many pounds of muscle they have, what the metabolic rate is, so they know how many calories a day to eat in order to maintain their body weight. This is a machine here that does
the
electrical impedance.
And this is part of that body composition profile.
I'm just going to put this tape on his hand and on his foot, just like this.
They measured body fat through water immersion. Is this the same, or is it similar, or what are the advantages?
Well, this is every bit as accurate. However, it's a lot less painful and certainly a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, a lot more comfortable. You don't have to be submerged in that tank of water to get the same result.
It takes a lot less time.
And it is as accurate.
Oh, yes.
Now, the advantage of knowing this is that you can find out whether the problem that a person has is because they might have too much fat, or whether it's because of lack of muscle. Some people we check, the problem is actually a lack of muscle size. So what they would need to do is train with weights rather than being involved with aerobics and dieting to lose fat.
Now, when people come to you, do they do the exercise at your studio, or are they accountable to do it at home? I know I personally will not exercise at home. I do it for 3 seconds, and then I say, the hell with it, let it spread.
For someone like you, the ideal thing is to have a private instructor.
Yes.
Someone that can motivate you and make sure that you keep after your objectives.
Yeah.
In our studio, we train people to train themselves. The idea is they come to us, we analyze their bodies, we come up with a program for them to do, and then we actually take them through the program at our studio.
I see.
Now, this is not a thing where they're going to join for the month or the year. They come down there by the hour to learn how to train. Now, if they want to train at home, that's fine. If they want to go to a gym, that's okay. Or if they want to continue with us, that's
so
okay.
You can give them the instructions, and they can go to a gym and use the machines that you recommend.
Right.
That is a wonderful concept. It is so much fairer, and this is really, always have my eye on the viewing audience, that they're not being exploited in terms of their budget. Usually you have to sign up for a year, and you go for a month, and then you never go back.
And then you don't go.
Yeah. For the women out there, I want to ask Karen, did you start at a later age, and did you have that horrible word, flab?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact.
And see, I don't believe it tightens up after a certain age.
Not true.
You can tighten it up quite a bit. I started at 35 years of age, and I started with 41 inches around the thigh.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
That's even more than and I'm suffering.
And it all tightened up, you know, there's no problem.
And how long did it take you?
Well, most of the progress was done in the first year, but it actually took closer to 2 years before I was ready to compete. But it did tighten up. Okay, Frank here is at 8.7% body fat.
Yes.
And the normal for his age would be between 14 and 19%. So he's way down in the range of the athlete. Yeah. He only has 13.5 pounds of fat on his body, and his muscle and bones weighs 142.4 pounds.
Fabulous.
Now, the advantage of knowing this is that when he's on an exercise program, he could actually, even though the body weight may stay the same, the composition can change.
It changes.
So that getting on the scale may be frustrating because your weight's staying the same, but if you have the readouts, you know you're making progress.
Yeah, I don't think the scale tells the truth all the time.
No, it doesn't.
Not.
In terms, because sometimes when I lose weight, I do not lose in pounds, but I do lose in size. I shrink before the pounds come off.
Right.
And before I learned that, I was so discouraged, I'd go eat out of sheer aggravation. You know. You are in the telephone book,
yes.
in the Valley book, under Kuva?
No, under Forever Young. Forever Young Private Fitness Studio.
Okay. Remember Forever Young in the Valley. So glad for your being here, and we will continue.
Oh,
Frank,
real pleasure.
Frank, yes.